Like what creates a John Galt, bro? Like how does that even happen?
The nigga got teased.
Like
I
like
think
what
that's what it is, bro.
like what creates a John Galt, bro? Like how does that even happen?
Recently, I just had an experience with a tenant, and yeah, I guess he was a halfway decent tenant. You know, when I say speak of the tenants, I'm talking about do they pay, do they not cause that many problems? So, you know, from a black perspective, he was halfway decent. So he gets behind on his rent. So I follow up with him and I say, hey man, you know, you're a little behind on your rent. He never returned my calls, things like that. You can kind of tell he was ducking me. That's the typical behavior with a lot of the black tenants, particularly lower class black tenants. So anyway, so I go by the place to see the guy, you know, to talk to him. Hey man, you've been ducking my text, phone calls, so on and so forth. Just want to, you know, follow up with you about the rent. He's with his girlfriend. He gets very boisterous, putting his finger in my face, waving his finger around. Violent nature of the blacks. But he was a short guy, you know, which is interesting. Anyway, so, you know, I diffused the situation, and he later left. And so I went by there to see the property a couple of days later after he left, and you know, he, in his black mind, these people are destructive by nature, as I say, and he did some damage to the property, and I'll show that to you. And again, it's just one of those things where it's inexplicable in some ways, in that you can't make heads or tails of it. If you can't pay your rent, the last thing you will seemingly want to do is make a problem with the landlord. Most people will want to try and come up with a solution with their landlord, so as not to have to move or anything like that. But these people, they go immediately to a destructive nature. And so I'll show you a couple of examples of what the young man, and I guess probably his girlfriend as well, were able to do in their property. Again, there was no confrontation on my behalf. No, hey, you got to get out, or if you can't pay me the rent or anything like that. Nothing like that. This is just clear destructive by nature of black people when confronted with the situation. They do not have the reasoning ability to think these things through, and they go to their first response, which is destruction. And so let's take a look at some of the destructive nature of the black here. So this is the living room. So this is not the living quarters. This is not the bedroom of the young man. And so we'll take a look at what the young black did. So this is just trash that he just dumped out. Maybe he had a bag of trash, and instead of taking it outside, he just dumped it right there in the living room. And here's a table that had like a little glass top. And it wasn't a lightweight top, so he had exerted a little bit of energy to get the table top off of the table there. This is just destruction of a chair. And so this chair is like one of those acrylic plastic-like chairs, and I don't know how the black broke the back off of the chair, but he was able to break the back off of the chair. This is extreme aggression against, inanimate objects. And again, this is the low IQ nature of blacks. So I guess he was only able to break one of the two chairs. Just destroy things like that. See, this is the back of the chair there. Somebody took the top off of the table. That's the table there. And just black trash. And so that was the first video, one of several videos. Here's another video. Now, this is the video of his room. And in this instance, you would expect that at least his living quarters would have been kept, fairly clean and stuff like that. But again, this is how the blacks live, in and out of their element. You ever wonder why their neighborhoods are so dirty? Why there's so much trash on the ground? Well, look at their rooms. How can their rooms be cleaner than their neighborhood? How can their neighborhood be cleaner than their rooms? These are the same people. They come outside and they treat the outside just like they treat their bedrooms. Take a look. So again, like, one could say, well, he just did that on his way out of the door, but he had to have that much trash in his room. Every day this black walked out of the front door, walked right past the trash can where the city would pick up the trash. They'll do it for you for free. They'll take it away for you. All you have to do is take it out of your house. This black never took the trash out. Him and his ugly girlfriend, they were willing to live like this. And again, ugly women, they can't have standards for the men. They can't set standards for the men. This ugly black woman that's with him is willing to live in filth like this. They have open jars of peanut butter. They don't even put the tops on them. Like, these people are filthy. And the man has no reason to improve himself because the woman, she was so disgustingly ugly herself. She's willing to live in this. So why should he improve his lot in life? And I mean, look at this. And you see the just wanton destruction. It's just in their head. This is who they are. They destroy for no reason. And you see this just liquor bottle after liquor bottle. And, you know, again, I told you he was behind on this rent. These people are drinking. You'll see this sheer number of liquor bottles here. It's about 6, 7 liquor bottles here. And again, I'm not criticizing anyone for drinking. I'm just pointing out this is kind of how they make choices in life. Instead of paying their rent, they're having a good time drinking, smoking weed. They even had a dog. You'll see right here, there's some kind of doggy treat. How are blacks who can barely make it themselves in life taking on dogs? Hell, how are they even trying to form relationships, one might reasonably say? But dogs, that's just a bridge too far. And so you'll see the Cheetos under the bed again. This is a kind of an indication of why blacks are so fat and why they have such health problems. Just look at the diet. Look at the food and drink, the alcohol they drink, the weed they smoke, the sodas that they drink, the chips and other processed food that they eat, the lack of exercise. Both of these people were short and fat. And again, this is just an indication of why blacks are so hard to deal with and why very few people want to become landlords to these people. This is a very, very good representative sample of how many blacks live, and is an even better example of how many blacks respond when they have to deal with the stresses of not being able to pay their rent. Instead of finding constructive ways to deal with the landlord, they immediately go to their destructive nature. Once again, I am John Galt.
And I'm glad that I'm here, G. But it's fucked up I had to lose an eye to see shit clearly.